What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty, behind the camera from Ty Drives, and today we're going to take a look at the 2023 Audi Q3. This one happens to be in the premium trim level with the convenience package and the 45 TFSI motor. And in this video, we're going to take a look at all the features that this vehicle has to offer, both on the exterior and interior. And at the end of the video, we're going to want to make sure to stay tuned, because I'm going to strap this GoPro to my head and we're going to take this thing for a little test drive. Alright, let's start out with all the details on the exterior. We have full LED headlamps for 2023, no matter what trim level. So we have LED daytime running lights, turn signals, as well as high-end low beams. So all the bulbs up there are full LED and they look very nice, all illuminated. We have some nice sporty sort of dark gray painted trim that go around the little accents out front and across the front bumper. We also have parking sensors both front and rear, so very nice to see that. Pretty nice looking, very large grille with the chrome Audi rings. And we have a pretty nice looking short hood with some creases towards the center. And these are the most basic wheels you can get on a Q3, at least here in North America, and they are 18-inch silver painted alloys. Pretty good looking basic wheels in my opinion. And the tires up front measure to 35/55. There's a little S-line badging, since all Q3s in the United States as of 2023 are considered an S-line car, and they do have some pretty sporty exterior features, such as the sort of bowed out sills below the doors. We also do have chrome surrounding the windows and on the roof rails. And if we spin around, you can see that we have some pretty nice looking mirrors. We have LED turn signals on those mirrors, as well as blind spot on the inside. We also have smart key entry on all 4 door handles. So you just basically tap the button right there to lock, and hands behind the handle to unlock. Back here we have a very nice deck lid spoiler and the panoramic sunroof up there, as well as the shark fin antenna. And back here, full LED tail lamps, just like up front. So we have the turn signals, brake lights, and tail lights, all LED illuminated. And we even get the dynamic turn signals, which looks very nice, all lit up. We again have parking sensors back here, and also your trunk release and backup camera right below the Audi rings. We have hidden exhaust tips tucked underneath, and the Q3 and Quattro logos back here on the deck lid. So I think the Q3 is a pretty darn good looking little Audi here. What do you guys think about the styling? Let me know in the comments. So for 2023, North America sees only one engine choice for the Q3, and it is the 45 powertrain, which means it's a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4, and it's good for 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. So pretty good powers for a small SUV, and that gets you 0 to 60 just around 7 seconds. So it is plenty of power for this vehicle. Now, in previous years, I believe maybe 1 or 2 years, they also offered the Q3 in a less powerful 40 TFSI motor, which I believe had right around 180, 190 horsepower, but they have axed that motor for North America in 2023. So now we get just the more powerful engine. And take a look at that. We have the oil filter and the oil dipstick right on top of the motor for very easy serviceability. We also have standard is the Quattro all-wheel drive system, and it comes hooked up to an 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission. So the Q3 will come with a powered trunk lid here, and once we open that, we have a pretty good amount of space back here for a smaller SUV. As you can see, the rear seats will also fold down for you in a sort of default 60/40 fashion, but you also do have a center ski hatch sort of fold down section in the center of the seats, and I'll show you how to fold that down once we get into the rear seats. But truly you can fold them down in a 40/20/40 fashion if you would like to as well. But we have a nice all-weather cargo mat back here, all-weather floor mats and things like that come with this vehicle. storage extensions to each side. So one over here with a 12-volt power outlet and just a sort of smaller storage extension that has your little wheel lock kit in there. And you also have cargo tie downs in all four corners of this trunk, as well as a cargo shade. You have some illumination up here and a couple of buttons to close the trunk. One to close it and lock the vehicle, and one to just close it right on down. Alright, so let's get into the interior, but we do have quite the nice color combination for this vehicle. So we have the Navara blue exterior with the Octopi brown interior. Very attractive color combination on this car. Pretty cool bright work on the door here. So we have some metal trim right here leading into your door handle, as well as some silver painted trim down here where your window switch is. You also do have a lock unlock button back here too, and nice padded armrests with some stitching. 10-speaker audio system comes standard on the Q3, and that is what this one has. You can get an upgraded Sonos audio system if you would like on the Premium Plus model. We also have little storage bins to the sides of the seats, and we could either fold down or recline the rear seats with these little tethers. You just pull right here, and the seat will fold down like so. You can then put it up like that and then recline the seats back at an angle that is comfortable for you. Right next to the center headrest, you have a little switch right there, which you could push down, and that will fold down the center pass-through. And then we could also fold down the center armrest with a couple of cup holders. And at this point, we can hop in, and I can show you guys how much room there is back here. Now, it's actually a pretty good amount of space, just considering the smallest SUV that Audi offers in North America, or I should say the United States. We still have a couple of inches of legroom back here, and it might even be big enough to fit 3 smaller people back here, since there is a third seat belt and a third headrest back here. We have LED illumination up top, and as you can see, the panoramic sunroof is pretty big, so the rear passengers can get some enjoyment out of that. You also do have a couple of air vents back here with a temperature control. You can see the blue and red, and then also 2 USB-C chargers back here and a 12-volt power outlet. Pretty attractive interior for the dashboard too. Opening up the driver's door, we can see we have a few more buttons up here. And I'd also like to point out the blind spot monitor. You can see this little black square shaped object. That is where the lighting for the blind spot warning will come out on this car. We have more of that metallic trim and painted trim, as well as your lock unlock buttons over here. We also have power child locks for this car too, right there. We have our window switches, power folding, and heated mirror controls. We also have 2-person memory seats for the driver, and our trunk release right down here, a little bit of storage, as well as a speaker. To the left of the dash, we have an air vent, some pretty cool styling here with your headlight controls. If we take a look down here, we could see both the release for the telescoping steering wheel and a little storage tray. So that kind of folds out in a bin style, and we have some felt line storage, hood release, and pedals down here as well. We also get this pretty cool S-badge stainless steel side sill there. And take a look at our driver's seat. We have 4-way adjustable headrest, which is very nice. Lots of same color stitching on the inside and pretty smooth leather. And we also do have 4-way lumbar in addition to the rest of our seat controls. So we've got quite the old school Audi key for the Q3. We have the lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic alarm to the side, and also a switchblade key in case you need to use that. So pretty cool old school Audi key fob for the Q3. I believe it's the only model that still gets this older style Audi key fob. But we do have push button start right over here. And that brings me down to our steering wheel. Very nice soft leather for the steering wheel, and we also have some stitching on the inside. Very nice grips to hold the steering wheel. We have all of our digital gauges controller right over here, as well as our sort of media controls. We have Bluetooth, telephone, voice commands, skipping back and forth between different, changing different songs, and the roller is for the audio volume. Behind the steering wheel, we have a couple of stalks, one for your turn signals, automatic high beams, and also to turn on and off your lane keeping assist at the end there. And then we also have another stalk down here for your cruise control, and adaptive cruise control is available. And then on the other stalk, we have our front and rear wipers. I almost forgot to mention on the back of the steering wheel, we do have these nice paddle shifters. Now we do have a pretty much full LCD screen up here for your gauge cluster. Now if you did option this car on with in the Premium Plus trim with the built-in navigation, you would get a little bit of a larger screen, and you would be able to see the navigation map within the gauge cluster, but we do have the more basic screen, although it is fully digital. So again, we can use these buttons here to configure that screen, and kind of just pay attention down here whenever I make adjustments so you can see how to do them yourself. Right over here, we kind of have a vehicle information screen. If we scroll down, we have a real-time and average fuel mileage screen. We have short and long-term memory here, an energy consumption screen, as well as a driver's assistance screen. If you could activate the lane keeping assist, you'll have a better visual there, as you see. Moving over, we have a radio screen, and moving over once more, you have a telephone screen. And again, if you had the built-in navigation equipped on the vehicle, again, you have a larger screen and another setting to see the map. If we click view, we can kind of get a more minimal display, so everything in the middle kind of disappears or darkens, so we just can pay attention to the tachometer and speedometer. Coolant temperature is off to the left, and to the right you have your gas gauge. And for our test drive, I think we'll leave it up on the driver's assistance screen so we can see what the lane keeping assist looks like while we're in motion. Up here we have a nice soft to the touch dash, a couple of air vents on top of the infotainment screen, and we can head to the home right here. We have shortcuts off to the side, and we can also swipe to the top to get various things like your tone for the audio. Nice home screen here with a jumbulation of your music, your phone, and time. Again, we could kind of replace this with your navigation if you had built-in nav. Our radio screen looks pretty nice. Once you click on a station, it kind of gives you all of the stuff that you need. You can play and pause and kind of skip around if you're on Sirius XM, which is nice. And here is all of your different sources. We have the media and phone screen there, of course. And we also have the phone apps, which has to do with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is fully wireless. We have our vehicle screen, which we could pull up our drive modes. We have off-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. And you can customize a couple of different things in the individual mode. Also within our vehicle information screen, we have a sort of energy assistance screen there. We can kind of give you tips to drive more economically, lighting and visibility, parking aid, all that good stuff. And we can also turn on and off various driver's assistance functions if you'd like. We have also a screen there for settings and reminders for service. We have some favorites that you can go through for your radio station, and also a general settings right here. We also have our tone for the audio. You can configure a couple of different things, which is nice. And that pretty much does it for the screen. Very nice, easy to get used to, very responsive touchscreen. And one more thing I'd like to add is you can actually set up different users. So if yourself and somebody else drives the car, they can get in with the key, and they will recognize your own specific settings and kind of bring all those up. Very simple dual zone climate control for this vehicle. We of course have 3-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger. We have the defrosters here and here, front and rear, and the temperatures right over here for the driver and passenger. As you can see, dual zone. Fan speed right in the center, and where you want the air to come out, right to the right next to the AC button. Of course, the engine start-stop button like you saw before, and the volume knob is down there. Let's get the shifter out of the way so we can see this line of buttons Quick drive mode select right over here. You can also turn on and off your traction control and the auto start stop. We have our hazards activation right there. We can also bring up our parking camera and sensors right there with that button at any time. We of course have a very nice high quality backup camera and our parking sensors visual. A Premium Plus trim level will have a 360 degree view camera system. And then we also have your hill descent button right there if you'd like. Down here we have lots of storage down here, so pretty good amount of storage. If you want to put your phone there or wallet or anything, it's plenty big enough. 2 USB-C inlets. And we also have the gear selector for the 8-speed automatic transmission. We of course have park and reverse, which of course will bring up the reversing camera and parking sensors. We also have drive, and then once you're in drive, you have a couple of different settings. You can kind of just leave it as it is in sort of a comfort setting, or you can bump it down like so. That will kind of put the transmission into a sport mode, but it is still in a automatic mode. Or you can bump it over like so, and you can start shifting your gears manually down here or up with the paddle shifters. Down here we have the electronic parking brake, a 12-volt power outlet, and a little pouch here to maybe put loose change. Down here we have a couple of cup holders and a little pad here to set up your phone. Nice little soft to the touch center armrest and a little bit of storage underneath there. Pretty cool looking metal trim on the passenger side with the Quattro emblem. You also do have a lockable glove box with some illumination, and it's all felt lined in there with some business card holders, pen holders, and good things like that. Taking a look up here, we have a full black headliner, which is very nice. We also have the visors with mirror and light and card holder. We have some lighting controls up here. Also some SOS and servicing buttons. We have tap illumination, which is all LED throughout the vehicle. We have 2 separate controls, one for the sunshade, which when it's all the way back, it lets in a nice amount of light, and it is a pretty big panoramic sunroof for a vehicle of this size. And once the shade is open, we can start moving the glass portion with the tilt and slide with this button here. One more thing worth mentioning, all passengers in this vehicle will be treated to grab handles. And that pretty much does it for all the features of the vehicle. Hope you found this part of the video helpful. Let's get this thing out on the road and see how it drives. Okay, let's get the Q3 out on the road and see how it drives. Now, we are going to start off the drive in comfort mode, and then we'll kind of bounce back and forth between a dynamic and then back to comfort for those respectable driving occasions. But a little overview of this test drive, and we're going to get it down to this dead end here, so we could get a turning circle test, which is good for those of you viewers who live in the city or commute to the city, and just get a good idea on how easy it is to park this car in and out of parallel spots and things like that. We'll then get it out onto a main road. We'll hopefully get it up to 45, 50 miles an hour. We'll see what the sound levels and comfort levels and things are like that up at those speeds. And the last portion of the video, we're gonna have it on a back road, so we'll get an acceleration test. What I like to do is get it up, to 25 miles an hour. We'll have the car in dynamic mode, and we'll just kind of punch it, see what the transmission does, and see how fast we can get up to 60. And we'll just do a good, comfort test, a little dynamic test, see how it handles the corners, and also how comfortable it is over some rough road. So turning circle is really good. We have a nice short wheelbase on this smaller Q3, and thus giving us a pretty good turn signal, or turning circle, I should say. Take a turn onto this more main road here, and and we'll really get a feel for it up at some close to highway speeds here. Also, hopefully we'll get a break in the traffic too, so that we could test out the lane keep assist. You know, I like to do it when there's not a lot of traffic around in case something doesn't go right, but I'm sure we will get a chance to do it at some point here. And, looks like this CRV is going to be holding us up a little bit, but you know, I guess we'll get a pretty good idea of the road noise and things like that. So when the car picks up, the lanes, they will turn green within our gauge cluster. Almost on point there, look at that. And when you get outside of your lane, they will kind of turn red, so we'll kind of do that. As you see, looks very nice in your gauge cluster, and also works very well too. You know, kind of, you know, of course the lane that you're going outside of will turn red, and it will gently turn you back into the lane you're supposed to be in. Nothing jarring or anything like that, but very nice system, and it seems to pick up the lanes very nicely and keep track of them once it has a good hold on them. Also, the road noise is pretty good in this car, so it's, or I should say, lack of road noise is pretty nice. The smaller wheels definitely helps out with the lack of tire noise and things like that. And not a whole lot of wind noise coming from the mirrors either, so pretty quiet up at 45 miles an hour. And we'll now switch it into dynamic mode. And we'll keep the car in automatic, the transmission in automatic, I should say. And of course we'll get it up to that 25 and see if we can get it up to 60. And here we go. Yeah, it's a pretty brisk acceleration from the Q3, not bad. We do have a good amount of torque in this vehicle, 258 pounds-feet to be exact. And you know, the gear changed very fast. You know, this 8-speed transmission is pretty fast to shift, and also pretty smooth when in economical driving. And that got us into the right gear, and the turbocharger spooled off, and we were off. Definitely not the fastest car in the world, but pretty good and smooth power delivery on this car. Now, when this generation of Q3 came out, I have to say I was kind of disappointed at the way it drove. But throughout the years, you know, this car has been out since 2019. Throughout the years, they have been making improvements to the drivetrain, and it has shown. You know, before the Q3 is kind of a jerky car. Lots of ice there. A little bit jerky and things like that, you know. But the transmission has definitely improved. And I know this motor, you know, Audi and Volkswagen have been using this motor for a while now, and it's proved to be pretty reliable and a pretty powerful motor too, for just 228 horsepower. Of course, we have the full-time Quattro all-wheel drive on this vehicle, which also helps out with going over that little ice patch there. I wasn't expecting to see that, but that definitely helps with the winter weather and things like that we've been having up here in the New England area. It also rides pretty nice so far. We have a pretty good stretch of road coming up here, which we will display the ride quality, because it's pretty rough road. And I could definitely give you my thoughts on the suspension after we go through that road there. But we do have a little bit of traffic building up here. We do have a nice S-turn coming up too, so we're gonna leave it in dynamic mode and see how we get around this corner here. Now again, it is a nice short wheelbase SUV here. You know, center of gravity isn't all that high, and it does do pretty good in the corners. Now, these roads are all salted and sanded up, so we're not going to have that much grip. So I'm not going to throw it around the corner, you know, like we're on a racetrack. But you know, just to get a good idea. Yeah, not too bad around the corners. Switch it back into comfort mode. And this is the rough stretch of road I was just telling you guys about. It is pretty rough. And you can see all of, pretty much this whole stretch of road is just patchwork to cover up a bunch of potholes and imperfections in the road. But it's still pretty rough road here. And the Q3 is doing a really nice job of soaking up all the bumps. Pretty impressive suspension. You know, if you usually have a smaller SUV like this, they tend to ride a little bit rough, but this one does a pretty good job over the bumps. Definitely pretty comfy suspension setup. And the seats in this car are also pretty comfy too. You can also get a more of a sporty seat design, which rather sporty. I find them to be more comfortable than the seats in this car. Even though they're called the sport seats, we have the thigh extensions on those seats and a little bit more bolsters on the sides of the seats too. So that's definitely worth a look with the nicer seats that you can get on this vehicle. Around this corner here. Yeah, this does have plenty of power. Now, the motor is a little bit loud for Audi standards, so if you get on the throttle a little bit, it does get a little bit buzzy, but nothing we can't handle. You know, after all, this is the most basic Audi that you can get in North America, or I should say in the United States, for an SUV. So you know, it's not quite as nice of a car to drive as the Q5. You know, the Q5 will have slightly more comfortable suspension setup, a little bit more refined driving dynamics, but this Q3 is not far behind. Actually a pretty enjoyable car to drive now. All right, so what are my wrap-up thoughts on the 2023 Q3? Very much improved car. You know, as I said before in the test drive, you know, when they came out in 2019, they were a little bit rough around the edges, but Audi has definitely done a lot of work refining the transmission and motor in this car to make it a pretty enjoyable driving experience. Really like the design on this car too, on the exterior and the interior. Very nice sort of overall design to this car, and plenty of features for the money. We do have a $43,000 sticker price, just around $43,000 give or take, with the convenience package and a couple other little accessory options going on with this particular car, but pretty good value for the money too. And on that note, we end with a bang with the 2023 Audi Q3. I hope you have enjoyed this car just as much as I have, and I also hope you stay with us here at Ty Drives for more reviews and test drives just like this one.